This is the voice of the New York Football Giants, Bob Papa, and you are listening to the best throughout Europe, the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast.
Welcome back, Giants fans, to the latest edition of the Big Blue UK and Ireland podcast. As always, we are proudly in association with Annie's Man Club. To remember, it is okay to talk, and tonight we are 80% British, 20% Irish, and Shane's wearing his shades. And as always, we are 100% Giants. I'm back from a unexpected, extended little break. It's a bit of a summer holiday for me. We're back for what seems like in the first time in forever with a full barn, ladies and gents. There's a full barn in the house tonight. I'm joined by Shane, by Kev, Aaron, and Craig, and also for the first time it seems like forever, we had Giants football this past Saturday as well. Come on, Giants football, full barn. What more could you want, ladies and gents? Big Blue travelled to upstate New York to take on the Buffalo Bills in the first of our 3 preseason games. More on that to come shortly, and also coming up later on as well. It's that time of year where we make some predictions, but not just any predictions, Lou. No. These are some bold predictions, and there may be a few that are a little bit bolder than others, so make sure you stick around for that later on, as I'm sure there'll be some hilariously bad ones as well, no doubt. Boys, how we doing? Full house?
Yeah, not too bad. The reason I got the shades on is because, spoiler, we're going to end up talking about 51 at some point, and if my eyes are showing, there's going to be Love Arts there instead. So I thought I'd try and hide it a little bit with the shades. But yeah, it's good to be back on. You can see Kev's got a suit on or a shirt, looking very smart. It's like he might have a statement to make in relation to the recent rumours about me and him maybe not seeing eye to eye. So, Kev?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. You know, you've got to take this stuff seriously now. You know, like a beat reporter up in here, like making bold predictions left, right, and centre. Although I don't think they're that bold. But it's good to be back on, lads. I mean, 5 of us on. You know, those 5 stars we keep saying. You know, the 5 of us are on, and yeah, it feels like I've been away for ages. But football is round the corner. Things are getting very, very close now, and yeah, really looking forward to it. And let's get these predictions done, eh?
Yeah, nothing like a Giants W to bring everyone back together, eh? I know it's only preseason, but that first bite of a Jameis W, let's hope it's the first of many, right?
Yeah, it's ramping up, isn't it? And it was just nice to sit down on Saturday and listen to the same 5 DAZN adverts over and over and over again. I've forgotten what that guy from the Audible advert says, but if I hear it one more time, I'm gonna go postal on someone, I think. But it was. Oh God, don't. The funny thing is someone turned around and said it was the only game on. You could have watched it on NFL Network with the US ads. Thanks for telling us after the game and not during. But no, the game was good, and I'm really looking forward to kind of getting into it because for once we actually probably went into it with a bit of optimism and a little bit of intrigue as to what we were going to see.
Yeah, and I mean, what we did see wasn't half bad, really. So it's it's just nice to have a game to talk about for the first time in 8 months. Actually talk about a game, and yeah, looking forward to getting into it and sinking our teeth into it. It's good to be back on as well. Obviously, I had that little bit of an extended unintentional break. I didn't watch the game live on Saturday and hear those atrocious adverts, unfortunately. Maybe not unfortunately. I was busy in a field watching lots of live bands and live music. So, yeah, that's where I was. So I've caught up with it today, though. So, looking forward to getting into it. But as usual, obviously, if you're watching live on YouTube, Twitch, X, Facebook, whatever platform you're on, get involved in the comments. Send us your questions. Give us your opinions. Let us know what you think of our bold or not so bold predictions as well later on in the show. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already, and feel free to leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice. 5 stars, let's do it. Where else can we start off really than in the preseason game? at Orchard Park. All 4 quarterbacks on our roster saw playing time. Who saw that coming? Against one of 2024's standout teams, the Buffalo Bills. Now, unsurprisingly, Josh Allen didn't see any time on the field. However, what was for a preseason game, I thought was fairly exciting, actually. The Giants ran out 34-25 winners to take our preseason record to 1-0. We are now 1-0. Wrong way around. 1-0, there we go. 1-0 on the season. Come on, lads. So 1 in the win column. That's what we want to see. I'm going to hand over for the first time this year to our offensive gurus, Kev and Aaron. Who stood out for you, my boys?
Well, I mean, there's only one place to start. It's been a massive offseason for the Giants. The draft came, picked up 2 first-round picks. I mean, we've got to start with Jackson Dart, surely. I mean, the 20-year-old, he threw his first touchdown pass to the Giant, a 28-yard strike to little Jordan Humphrey. And one thing I loved about this play was he audibled into it. Like, he sent Humphrey on the go route. He stood in there. He liked his matchup. He scanned the field, liked his matchup, give him the signal, little tap of the leg. There's going to be a go route. He looked off the safety to one side of the field, and he threw that ball beautiful placement while he was taking the hit by the big defensive tackle. And his name forgets me now, but I liked him in the draft. I mean, that was just class to see, reading the field before the snap, making an adjustment, executing. It was absolutely brilliant, and he finished with 12 for 19 on 154 yards. It was 1 touchdown, passer rating of 106. He rushed the ball for 3 times for 24 yards, including the 19-yard scramble. And on that scramble, it was one of those, you want to kind of see him slide. We did see that bit of abandonment for his own safety, sort of running through there. But, he needs to get down there. But really good to see. He showed poise under pressure. He avoided the sack, a turnover when he was rushed on a second and third play. He showed great awareness and touch, especially on a 3rd and 12 screen to Miller. That resulted in a 13-yard gain. And that sort of that was the one on the first drive. To get a first down. He led 4 drives resulting in 13 points, 1 touchdown and 2 field goals. He kind of came out there and, just showed what you want to see. For a first showing of him, it was against the Bills starters as well. Russ didn't play that much, so he came in against a lot of Bills starters. He wasn't perfect. He threw a few off-target throws late in the half. That's to be expected, trying to find his feet at this level. He showed progression reads, which a lot of people said, he didn't show at Ole Miss, but he came out and he went through his progressions. Sometimes he reached his 3rd and 4th option on those progression reads. He knew to find his checkdowns when they were there, to take the ball there. He showed good touch, good ball placement, and good decision making. He avoided any poor decisions. He wasn't hesitating with the ball. A lot of people thought he might stand back there for ages and ages, but, he got the ball out on time. So, like I said, he just kind of ticked a lot of boxes, just making the right plays at the right times, taking off when he needed to take off. And also, some of his interviews just afterwards, speaking about standing in there and taking those hits, and knowing that, the play, he's going to throw the ball regardless. Instead of curling up I think someone used a really good analogy the other day. I was listening to the podcast, was curling up like a turtle. You just sort of you see pressure and you just dive down to the ground and curl up in a ball. He stands in there and lets that ball go. So just a really, really good showing, first showing from Jackson Dart. You can kind of see that he's progressed. When he started camp, at the very beginning, you could see that the NFL was a little bit, not too much for him, but you could see he was finding his feet, learning. And all the hard work he's been putting in, you kind of came to fruition there at the weekend. And just one last note before we move on to the other offensive player is how much does Brian Dable love Jackson Dart? I mean, every time he talks about him, he's absolutely glowing. When he makes a good play, you see Dable on the sideline really pumped up and really excited. We've never seen sort of this Dable on the sideline or speaking about a player. He's not very good he's not that he's not very good, but during interviews, he doesn't like to give the media much. But when he talks about Dart, he just, one of the quotes I loved, he said he was just efficient, effective, aggressive, confident in the pocket. These are really good attributes to have and really positive ways for the head coach to speak about his QB. So, yeah, I mean, did he set the world alight? No. But was he good? The answer is yes. And he sort of, like I said before, he ticked all the boxes we wanted him to tick in this preseason game. And to be honest, I'm here for it. And I want to see him get out there in the field again at the weekend.
Yeah, I think what you got to remember is Brian Daboll's had Daniel Jones as quarterback in his 3 years as head coach. So it's exciting for him to have a young, hungry talent like Jackson Dart. So, I'm not surprised he's excited by him. Aaron, your player of the game?
Yeah, so maybe one that's a little bit of left field, and a guy that maybe we haven't talked about too much, and maybe even his signing went a little bit under the radar at the time, and that's Montreal Washington. Had a great game. He was a 5th round pick in 2022 of the Denver Broncos. Spent most of the season on their roster as on kick and punt returns, and he was cut at the end of the training camp the following year. So was up with them for 1 year before, and he was picked up by the Chiefs practice squad. Had played roster yo-yo like some of our guys did last year, up and down and elevations and cuts and back to the practice squad. But he was part of the Super Bowl winning Chiefs team as a game day elevation from the practice squad. So not all bad news from that kind of thing. And some of our receivers over the last decade have got a less decorated. Well, in fact, Kadarius Toney and Richie James were also on that squad. So a lot of our receivers did get Super Bowl rings with the Chiefs that year. So he did spend last season again on the practice squad, but without the elevations before being cut and signing with the Giants as a reserve future contract this year, and has come into our camp really as what is probably now the clubhouse leader for the backup slot position. He's been pretty eye catching in camp. I think Smith Marset as the kick returner was hoped that he would pick up the slot role, and from all reports, it doesn't really sit there as the main sort of slot. He hasn't really got that slot potential that we've seen from Smith Marset, so he's in as the kick returner. So we need that backup slot, and his performance from camp was fully cemented with his performance in the game. 26 snaps, I think a PFF grade of 17 to 71 in total, which is pretty respectable given the talent around him. 6 targets for catching 3 for 60, including one particular kind of scamper down the sideline where he made a guy miss. And probably could have gone a lot further, but maybe his lack of playing time, he's forgotten how wide the field is and just stuck out of bounds. But if he was able to stay in, that potentially had the option there to make one more guy miss and take that to the house. Wasn't out of the realm, but it did give us the opportunity to throw the touchdown on the next play. So much better. And he was credited with one drop on a 3rd down on a critical play, and the throw was a little bit behind him. It was a bit contested, didn't quite bring it in. But considering he had sort of 1.5 quarters of action with our backup future QB, and then our backup QB, fairly impressive outing for the slot, and knowing that Wandale has been pretty reliable over the years and tough, but you always want that who's the next guy in the slot. And at the moment, I think he's the clubhouse leader. One of the vibes I did get, he's obviously wearing the famous Victor Cruz's number 80 in preseason, and that preseason number 80 performance. We've got the Jets this week. Can he capture some of that Victor Cruz magic against the Jets this week and put another really good performance? And while I don't want to say his current performance was anything like what Victor Cruz did, can he just do that thing to secure himself a roster spot as that backup slot? We've got a very competitive back end of the receiver room. That last spot's getting really, really interesting. Obviously, he took opportunities while there was some guys injured. We're really interested to see where he takes that this week. And I think it was if this may be the only game that we ever get a chance to call out Montreal Washington, he may disappear into the background. So I thought I'd give him the opportunity to have his flowers today.
Nice. And yeah, like that, Montreal Washington isn't a standout guy, like receiver on our roster, so it's nice to put his name in the spotlight. Obviously, we talked about, like I said at the start, like all 4 quarterbacks on our roster played time in this game. Obviously, the main man being Russ Wilson. What did you boys think of his one drive that he had on the field? Like, did he? What was your thoughts on it?
It was much of a muchness, really, wasn't it? Like, there wasn't a lot. There was a lot of check downs, which I guess we're going to expect from Russ, as that's just statistically what he does. Is he will go through his progressions, but is very quick to either check it down or to run. It does depend on obviously how the offensive line holds up. I think it held up relatively well for his drive. It wasn't perfect, but it was okay. We got points at the end of it. It's such a small sample size, though, isn't it? We've seen so much more in training camp than what we saw in that one drive. I think it was only like 7 plays? I think it was in total.
Yeah, it wasn't long, was it?
So it's really hard to kind of to judge him on it. I think the only thing that you can say is that Dart obviously came in and looked exactly how we wanted him to look at this moment in time. Maybe like temper things just a little bit, but there were signs of holding on to the ball a little long. I think he had 7 potential pressures associated against him from his snaps, which were sort of quarterback pressures. So he's still got that to clean up. I mean, Winston came in, did very well. Tommy came in, led a touchdown drive. I think if anything, it's probably the most positive quarterback showing we've had in a long time, and not just from a starter, like across the board. It is definitely easily our strongest quarterback room in a very, very long time.
So I think the statistic is we scored more points in that one game than we did in the entire of the preseason last year. So like from and not against the side that was the ones were out there at the start. It wasn't like just a full third string side that we saw against us. I think the key thing for Russell Wilson was it was nice to see him run that offense control. No neighbors as well for that first thing. We know how much he's going to be crucial to that drive. And the drive was killed by 2 awful penalties on back-to-back plays by Hudson. And to get a 10-yard holding penalty and a 5-yard false start, came away with points. Like, that's nothing to do with the quarterback to lose those yards, and with that, very few QBs in the league can overcome that kind of negative play as you get into the kind of far red zone.
I think with Dart, I thought Dart's execution was off a little at times, but that's going to come with experience and with game time. But I think for me, the one thing it will show you is Jackson Dart is QB2 for the New York Giants. And I genuinely don't believe it's even close, if I'm completely honest with you. But, I think with Wilson, he showed enough. And then the last thing I'll say on it is more of a roundup of the game, so to speak. But Jerry made a good point on the Joining Insider. If you look at the contrasts of the Texans game in preseason last year, when we saw a quarterback make some erratic throws, and we're all pretty down after the Texans game last year, and you compare that to preseason game against the Bills this year, and the contrast between the two is like night and day.
Yeah, and just a quick note as well. I mean, like, it was just nice to get Russell out there with the team. He is a starting QB at the moment, so it was just good to get him out there, throw a few balls around. Was he 6 for 7 for 28 yards? Nothing special, just to get a bit of rhythm. You did see the he will go long then short, as in he doesn't throw much in the intermediate stuff. It's like he'll look for the big play, and if it's not there, he'll go to his checkdowns, which is good because it keeps the ball moving. And stuff like that. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, which would be delightful this year if that happened. But all the other QBs had really good statistics, and all each got a touchdown. And that, you have to give a wee shout out here to the offensive line as well. They didn't give up a sack in this whole game. So, like, Yeah, it's just a nod to them. I know the pots and penalties were criminal, and absolutely you can't have them because it just shows how much penalties really stall a drive. But yeah, I mean, like shout out to the offensive line for keeping the boys upright, and it was just good to go out and see. You basically, it's good to go out and see an offense where you're not looking through it like this through your fingers, like do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was just nice to
Watching
get
from behind
Russell.
the sofa, like
Yeah, exactly that. So yes, the last point in Russell is just like he didn't show us anything special, but he didn't show us anything that would make us worry either. And I'd be interested to see how many throws he gets this weekend. I don't think he'll get that many again, to be fair. I don't think he might not even see the field. But Ian's absolutely right. You know, Dart does look like he is the number 2 option, which is absolutely fine. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be Dart then Winston for the next 2 years, essentially, is what we hope. Like, I mean, whether Dart sees the field halfway through the year or near the end of the year, but it's going to be that sort of like pecking order anyway. And you see, Winston's the type of bloke where he will be able to, he won't go and sulk. He won't do anything like that. You can see he's a proper team first kind of guy. So I think it's shaping up nicely, that quarterback room. If not spectacular, but it is shaping up nicely.
Yeah, and that was going to be sort of a follow-on question of mine. Is do you think Dart is the out and out number 2 in that room now? Because the fact that he came in that second drive ahead of Winston just made me think, wow, okay, Dart's QB2 then, surely. And then the way he played as well, why would you not have him as QB2? Just from the way he played in that one game. I think he's got so much potential.
So the only reason I can just temper expectations is you don't want your future potential franchise QB going out behind the third string O-line. And so it makes sense for Russ to start the 1/2s, bring in Dart second. No, if you're going to plan with all 4 playing, regardless of where Dart and Winston sit, I don't want Dart taking the hits behind the third string O line. That's now his performance has probably justified. Well, actually, given that where we are in the season, maybe we want to go for a. Maybe he will get a second place in the thing and get the first opportunity off the bench. But the only caveat I'd put on that is the O line, and I'm glad he came out second just for that reason.
Yeah, that's fair. Shane, do you want to answer that question that was on screen? So Kieran says, is the slight upturn in O-line performance anything to do with Shane stepping aside as guru?
I'd say it's less to do with me stepping aside and more to do with Aaron stepping in.
It's a very good answer. Good answer.
What a team player right there.
Yeah. I mean, says it
locker room leader.
Okay. Absolutely. You should have a C on his chest. Nice, cool, yeah. You know what? I thought overall the offense played pretty well, and the fact that we put 34 points on the board, you can't really complain, can you? You can't really complain. Such a diplomatic answer. Yeah, it was. Cool. Should we talk a bit of defense then, Shane? Why not? And now I wonder. I didn't have any choice. I'm just gonna say. I wonder who stood out for Mr. Penn State.
I've just decided every time this year throughout this podcast, when I talk about Abdul Carter, the shades are going on. I don't care if it's -3 outside, pitch black. Is that me playing music? I like what you're doing. I was sat here thinking, why could I hear music playing? I thought I took some on my iPad. I thought, oh shit, Spotify's playing, and I was like, that ain't one of my songs.
I thought something had started on my watch then as well for a second. I was like, oh no, I know, I recognise this music.
But like, in all seriousness.
So Shane, how did the man crush do? Let's go.
How can you not get chills and excited and other emotions that go throughout your body?
You're not sat under a desk, are you?
Why? Yeah, why?
Oh, I don't want to see that desk moving. Thank you.
The problem is my iPad just drops my camera back. But anyway, yeah, you got to talk about 51 Abdul Carter. I mean, when a player takes 6 snaps in pre-season and you're like, yeah, that's absolutely bang. I've seen everything I need to see. He had 6 snaps. Of those 6 snaps, he had 3 pressures on all 3 of his pass rushes. And that wasn't just against as Mel Kiper would say, an AOG, another occupational guy. That was against a left tackle who's been in the league since 2017, a Pro Bowler. And I just think with Carter and Burns, it's going to be everything we hoped Burns and Thibodeau would be. And I just think that, like, the pass rush that we're going to see from Carter and the way we're going to see him utilised, where he's going to move around, whether he's going to be at D tackle, whether he's going to be at D end, whether he's going to be at linebacker, maybe he kicks Tay Banks out and plays cornerback too. Maybe he comes in and plays opposite Malik Neighbours and starts receiving touchdowns. Like, the guy can do everything and anything. He might even step up in the booth and call some calls on offence and say, Mike, step aside, I've got this. Like, I just think whatever Abdul Carter does in life, he's just fucking amazing at it.
Do you want to just, declare your love for him anymore?
You know what I mean? Like, no one can sit there and go, I don't think you're right there, because I think, like, he could just do anything. He'd probably pick up some darts and throw a 9-darter. Do you know what? He's just that kind of, he can just do everything and anything. And, like, oh man, I just cannot wait to see him absolutely burying quarterbacks into the ground week after week, snap after snap. Oh, lineman, no offense, Aaron, get in the fucking ground, get out my way. Like, I can't wait for it. Running backs, boom, off you go, -4 yards.
Snap after snap.
One
is
thing,
that, like, is that Bones, or is that?
But one thing you can't do, clearly, is speak for Brian Burns at a press conference.
No, that's the thing though. To quote The Rock, he knows his role.
Yeah, true that.
He knows his role, and he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm out of here. He respects it. And I think it shows that camaraderie as well, that they've got, like, like, just trade Cave on Thibodeau now.
It's a bold statement, but...
bold predictions are later. Just calm yourself down,
Yeah,
Shane.
that's not a bold prediction. But nah, like, oh, man.
The shades are off. The shades are off. We can see your love
Through
hearts now,
Rikishi
Shane.
as well, the way that came off.
we can see the love heart still, Shane. It's fine. But no, like, unreal. Like, just like you said, those 6 snaps he had on the field, it was just almost like that's everything we hoped and more we would see out of him. And I mean, it may only be a very, very brief snapshot, but there's exciting times to come this season with him on the field. It just, yeah. What more can you say about him that Shane hasn't said already? Now, my standout for the game, it wasn't really sort of, the love in his eyes. Oh, you're right. My standout for the game, he wasn't really flashy. Wasn't really sort of a big performance, but over Tay Banks, just because I thought in the first half, he only played in the first half, but I thought in that first half he looked just a bit more consistent, and he showed a bit more physicality as well in his coverage. He only allowed 1 reception on 3 targets, 2 passes defended, and I just thought he stayed really tight in coverage, especially on deep balls as well. And he's up against realistically he's up against Flott in sort of a little bit of a battle for that CB2 spot, and I think even after most of the defensive starters exited the game, like, he was still in the game for the entire first half, and I think that sort of gave the coaches a bit more of an idea about where he is. And they sort of see where he is and sort of in terms of his development and how ready he is. He missed a tackle, but at the same time, I don't think that put too much of a downer on his game overall. I thought overall he played pretty well, better than what we'd seen in the majority of last season. Granted, it's a preseason game, granted it's preseason week 1, but he's fighting for a starting position. He's highly touted draft pick, and his first season as CB1 last year didn't work out for him, and so now having Adebo in there in front of him, it's time for him to make that CB2 role his, and I think he made a big step in making that CB2 role his. It's like he had those 2 pass breakups, and just the sort of, I think, just being able to recognise when passes were coming his way, he's got his head around. I thought quite quickly, and in comparison to previous seasons as well, I think he just looked like a better cornerback than he did last year. And I think that being in that CB2 role, I think it takes the pressure off of him a little bit. I think there may have been too much pressure on him as CB1 last year. And so, I thought, like, it wasn't flashy. It wasn't like anything spectacular, But I thought Tay Banks deserved a shout out, and I think he had a pretty solid first half when he was on the field.
I think it was pretty telling that he was kept out for the entire first half, though. I think that was kind of the coaching staff's way of turning around and going, you're not sitting with the starters because you are not a guaranteed starter just yet.
Yeah, prove yourself.
And I like that. It's tough love, and I like that. I think the biggest problem we've got though with Tay Banks is the fact that there is no pressure on him from Flop because he's injured, and the others aren't putting too much on him as well. But I maybe think it was more mixed from Banks, but that's again, it's a small sample size, isn't it? And until we get into the season, until we get to week 3-4, we can't really give any definitive answers on any of these players. We could get to week 1 and Banks could run away with a couple of interceptions and away it goes.
Sure Shane will have something to say about that.
But no, to just touch on Banks as well. I mean, like he's underperformed so much last season that the showing at the weekend, it was positive, not great. And so I know exactly what you mean, Dan. It's like, build on that. That's a building block now. Build on that. And let's get some more meaningful snaps and show that you're not a liability. Please get that head turned around instead of just eyeballing the fucking wide receiver constantly. At least pretend to whip your head around for a split second. Come on, like, flop if you have to. But yeah, it's just like, so it's just about that. It's about going out and showing again. And he hasn't got pressure. And Flott has shown some good signs, but he's always been too light. He's always been injury prone, which really works against him. Whereas Banks is like the physical specimen. He just needs to get the technique down a bit better. And I thought that would have developed in the NFL, and it hasn't quite yet. So he needs to show a bit of that.
He needs that discipline as well at the position as well, and he's that sort of, I think like looking at last year, throwing a strop when he wasn't going his way, and sitting on the sideline and doing what he was doing, it wasn't a great look for him. So he needs that sort of like a bit of a crack of the whip from the defensive coaches.
Yeah, I mean, like we've got third waiver wire priority, so we could be looking cornerback market for people who shake free at the cut down. Also, there's a couple of cornerback potential cornerback twos are still free agents. Like Ronald Darby, Asante Samuel Jr., Stephen Gilmore, if he's got a little bit left in the tank. But there's those other avenues where we can go if one of these guys don't step up, because if Flott and Banks don't sort of progress a little bit more in this over these few weeks before the start of the season, then we absolutely could be looking somewhere else for a cornerback to come in and challenge.
Exactly that. I think it's all to play for Tay Banks, and it's like I said, it's a good building block. It's a good start, but he still needs to prove himself a lot more. That's for sure. All right, Craig, round us out. Now that you've given our standouts, best of the rest.
Yeah, so there's 5 players that I've decided to highlight. Dante Miller is probably the standout of the offensive players, almost full stop. Outside of the 2 that we've already mentioned. He struggled a bit in the run game, 22 yards on 10 carries, but I don't think he was really helped by the offensive line. I think Miller's also going to be more of your home run kind of player than you're going to see him doing every down, which is almost what he was doing at the weekend. Passing game, though, 80 yards, 7 receptions, was pretty much the sort of check down guy. And as Kev kind of alluded to earlier, there was that really, really well played screen from Dart that sort of, looped over to Miller. Miller his acceleration is scary. And I think that the speed is what's going to be the factor for him on sticking on the 53, especially if he can, turn that on during special teams. If you look at kickoff, something like that, you're always going to have 2 players there. Essentially, if he's that second player and they decide to kick the ball to him, if he starts getting a little bit of a stride going and there's a gap, he will be gone. It
there's
could
a
be
reason they call it turbo.
Yeah, exactly.
Just quickly, like it's kind of set up for him as well. I mean, because Tracy's going to get a couple of carries, but you're going to sort of heat your starting back, so you're going to rest him. Scadabou's carrying a little bit of a hamstring injury, so you wouldn't risk him for this game at all. Maybe not the third game. Singletary, you know what you've got, nice and solid. You know what you've got. So he's going to get the bulk of the carries to really go out there and maybe take a handoff 60 yards the whole way if it opens up for him nicely. So, it's kind of there for him to put some good film on tape. And like you said, he was so assured with his hands. That really impressed me. It was like, and his bend on the outside, like, no matter, people, it doesn't have to take good angles. He could outrun people on that outside. So, yeah, it's really good to see from him.
Yep, absolutely. If we switch to special teams before I speak about the three rookies, Graham Gano, in recent years, I think we could probably call him Mr. Shaky more than Mr. Automatic. But I think he rolled back the clock on Saturday and kind of quelled any questions around Father Time potentially catching up on him, because I think that leg's still pretty damn strong. He hit all three of his field goal attempts, 53, 51 and 50. I know one of them was a little off target. It did hit the upright, but it doinked in, luckily. But other than that, I thought it was a good showing from Graham.
All that matters is was it good? Yes, it was good. There we go.
Yeah, exactly. And then the three sort of rookies that stood out. Marcus Bowe had zero headlines across the weekend. Nobody really spoke about him. And in the old mantra of your DM in football, if somebody's not talking about you, it's because you've done a good job. And that is exactly what Bowe did out there. 49 blocking snaps, 6 of them at left tackle, 43 of them at right tackle, 35 pass blocking snaps, 1 hurry across the entire game. I know it's against backups, but he is learning his trade. He's playing against people who have played in the NFL or have at least got maybe a season or two behind them if they're not a rookie. So impressed with that. Thomas Fedone caught all 3 of his targets for 22 yards. 2 of those were real difficult high point catches. There's the 2-point conversion on the Jameis Winston touchdown. That was high.
I thought that was a great catch as well.
In traffic as well between 2 players, went up, high pointed the ball, secured it, made sure it didn't come loose. The second one, I can't remember where it was in the terms of the drive. I'm pretty sure it was a DeVita throw to him in the middle of the field. He went up and high pointed that. 3. Was it a third down? Oh, Kev's got a 3. There we go, third down. So it's a third down grab as well, which, they're the kind of plays that you want your tight end to make is get us out of the hole at third down, get the first down, we go again. We look at opening up the playbook a bit more. And lastly, undrafted rookie free agent Trace Ford, who potentially maybe has a little route to the roster here. 2 hurries, quarterback hit, 3 total tackles, recovered a fumble late in the game that led to another Giants touchdown, second highest number of defensive snaps, and took full advantage of that rotational spot. We've all said they're probably going to take 4 outside linebackers with Carter, Golston, Thibodeau, and Burns. But if they decide to take a 5th because of the fact that Golston gets grouped in with the defensive tackles or Carter gets grouped in with the linebackers, Ford is up against Timon Fox. And I don't remember Timon Fox doing anything. I don't even know if he was suited up for Saturday's game. But I think
he did get on the field, but he didn't really do anything. I think he had one assisted tackle, maybe.
We seem to have done all right with undrafted rookie free agents. You look at Elijah Chapman last year. It was exactly how he came through. There's no reason that we can't have another defender do it again. But that's the 5 there. I don't know if anybody, just before we potentially move on, if anyone else had any other people that they thought stood out to them.
For me, I was going to say Bowe. Bowe really stood out for me. Sorry. Just like you said, didn't talk about him. He came in, done his job. I mean, I think I looked earlier, and what was it? One of those pass blocking snaps. PFF had him as an 82.2 grade for that. I mean, he showed good agility. His footwork was good. His hand technique was very, very good. I think he was pushed a little bit by power guys, but to come in and do all that at right tackle and then go to left tackle in a 2-minute drill and then going back to right tackle again. I mean, again, it's one of those things, come in and show what, give yourself a really good showing. And I thought he gave himself an excellent showing. And And like we were all high on him, and we all thought he should have gone higher, and he fell to us in the draft, and we didn't know why. And God, are we glad he got him in the 5th round now, because I think there's a real player there.
Yeah, I think he impressed me as well. I think he like you said, Craig, he's learning his trade, but he came up against some guys that have been in the league for a long time, and he just looks solid. He just looked solid. It was almost like he just slotted in there, knew what he was doing, had the job at hand, bish bash bosh, job done, see you later. And it was nice to have that sort of just a little bit of confidence in that offensive line, you know, that we've not had for so long. It's a case of, all right, he looks pretty good there, like, and for him to be a 5th round pick as well, it's not bad. It's really not bad, and I'm looking forward to seeing him suit up again, because I think he could be a sneaky little good player for us.
Before we switch gears and go bold, the only final player was Tommy DeVito, and the fact that he's probably too good to be on our practice squad, and whether we can, you know, if he can keep this performance up, can we get a 6th round pick or a, you know, something out of the trade, because somebody goes, well, actually, he would be our backup quarterback, you know, than what we've got around the league. You know, the Rams, we've managed to avoid Matt Stafford and his back problems that he's got, and you know, would they need an extra quarterback in their room if he's not ready to go at the start of the season? He's certainly put enough good tape out there. And you know, 4th quarter, I think technically a 4th quarter game-winning drive, because we were tied up or whatever it was at the time, and yeah, I think that's one to watch if he, assuming that we have no injuries, you know, touch wood, but he's too good to be on our practice squad, given what some of the state of the quarterbacks are around the league.
Yeah, I think probably the only sort of part of the game I thought we struggled a little bit in is the run game, but then obviously that's because we didn't have our big guys and our main guys in there. You know, Turbo I thought did a stellar job from what he needed to do, but I think I want to see more from the run game, and you know, I'm sure we'll see that over the sort of the next couple of weeks in the lead up to the regular season starting. So yeah, I think lots to look forward to. It's a positive start to the preseason. That's all you can really ask for. You know, we all know wins and losses don't really count at this point in the calendar. It's always nice to get a win, but at the same time, you want to see individual performances on that field, and there's been a lot of individual performances from this game that are to be happy with. So we can't really complain too much, and we do a lot of that on here. So we can't really complain too much about Saturday's game. Should we move on to bold predictions? And let's do it. Bold prediction time. We're going to make 3 bold predictions for the upcoming season, and these can be obviously the team or player based. I think we've kind of all gone along the lines of offensive, defensive, and a team based one. Craig's going to be writing them all down, or rewatching this back and noting them all down, or whatever he's going to do. So we can review them at the end of the season and laugh at how all atrocious and ridiculous they are and how far off we were. Just like Deontay Johnson, isn't that right, Shane?
I mean, we take shots at Shane for Deontay Johnson, but as you can see at the bottom there, Kev was the only person to get a bold prediction right last year, and we went 1 of 12.
I mean, whatever. Whatever. Let's face it, who expects to get a bold prediction right? They're bold for a reason. They're bold because they're a bit out there. And if any of us get anything right, then it's more luck than judgment, probably. Talking of the person that only got the one right last season, Kev, you're up first of yours. So first bold prediction, then, please, Kev.
Right, yeah, I was trying to think. Right, I didn't want to make some obvious ones. You know, like I know Malik Neighbors going for 2,000 yards and 15 touchdowns or anything like that, because I thought other people might pick something like that. And coming away watching that game, I know I mentioned them just now. Like I went a little bit under the radar. Marcus Bowe got me thinking. Right, I think he could start this year. And I want to tie it in with something else that I think as well. So I've gone for a bold prediction. I don't know how bold it is, but I've gone for a bold prediction of Marcus Bowe and Evan Neal to start at least 12 games between them. Could be 8-4, could be 6-6, but I think both of them will start a good amount of games for this Giants team this year.
Interesting. So 12 between them. Okay. Nice. Shane?
Well, I just want to start by saying, when this video was watched back in 12 months' time, future me, you were right.
Are you
That's
shades
it,
going on? So
Nah.
I'm asking. No.
Nah. So I don't feel that my prediction's that bold. In all honesty, I think it's quite possible it could happen. So I've got Malik Neighbours leads the NFL in yards and touchdowns. So he was 7th last year for yards, and he was 21st for touchdowns. But now we've got a bit more competent quarterback play. I think he can lead the league in yards and in touchdowns.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah, cool. Aaron?
So I
your first ever bold prediction.
Yeah, and whatever. Well, I don't know why you give Shane so much stick, because he's got a great prediction there, and I had a very similar prediction to Shane. Little slight different take on it. So my take is that Malik Neighbours will win 2/3 of the NFL receiving triple crown. So that means he'll either lead the league in 2 of the following categories: touchdowns, yards, or receptions. So very, very similar. I worry that maybe the touchdowns might not get there if someone has a big touchdown season and ours are spread out a bit more, with a bit more Russian side. But lead the leagues in yardage, lead the leagues in receptions, lead the leagues in touchdowns. 2 of the 3, he'll achieve that.
Nice. Craig?
I feel like mine are insane. Right, I have like story time with mine. I don't know what it is. I just like to give context.
Remember, you can't claim Abdul Carter calling plays. I've already mentioned that earlier on.
In the last 5 years, the Giants quarterback with the most yards has thrown for the following: 2024, 2,070; 2023, 1,341; 22 was 3,205; 21, 2,428; and 2020 was 2,943. Last year, Russell Wilson threw for 2,482 yards in 11 games. This year, he will eclipse 4,000 yards, becoming only the 4th Giants quarterback in history to do so, and the first since Eli threw for 4,299 in 2018.
Yeah.
Impressed. Yeah. I actually thought about tying something in, like saying all the quarterbacks combined will throw for 4,000 yards. Because then I was thinking all 3 quarterbacks will start a game this season with some of the ones I was thinking of. I like that. Oh, imagine if that came true.
To the moon.
4,000 yard season. Wow. All right. Mine seems a little bit tame compared to that.
Do you want to just put me last on all 3 of these?
Yeah, go on.
Because I obviously was drunk when I was making these up.
Well, okay. Mine's fairly simple, to be fair. Jackson Dart starts a game before week 10. And not because of injury.
That's a big caveat. I like it.
Simple, but effective, right?
It's interesting. I mean, I'm just going to derail it a little bit, but Kevin, who does put some comments in from sort of time to time, has said, bold prediction for the panel, Jackson Dart will start by week. So, Dan, yours was 10. Shane?
Yeah.
Show some fun here. So Jackson Dart starts by week 18 because we've made the playoffs and We're just resting Russell Wilson and giving Dart a chance.
There's plenty
Like
of caveats to that. There we go.
Like Patrick Mahomes all them years ago when he started the last week of the year. The last week of the season he was drafted because the Chiefs had made the playoffs. We're going to do exactly the same.
Kev?
Wow.
I don't know. Part of me wants to obviously tie it in with the bye week, but what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 7 against Denver.
Week 7.
Aaron?
Yeah, so I think you give him a home game as his first game. So I think the earliest that could possibly the earliest it could possibly be would be the Chargers game, because we were 0-3 and it's been terrible and everything else. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I think the Packers game, which would be 12. Yeah, 12, I'm going to say.
I want to say week 1, 2006, but I think, in all honesty, if he does start because we are poor, then give me week 15 against Washington after the bye. Just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's you know, if we're not playing well, I think that after the bye week makes total sense.
Yeah, and you got like last 4 games, 3 of them at home after the bye as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right then. Round 2. Shane, you're going first. Oh, here come the shades.
You know what time it is, though, yeah? So I've got Abdul Carter, number 51, leads the NFL in sacks and tackles for losses, which also incorporates another bold prediction that he becomes the first player since Lawrence Taylor, i.e. the first rookie, to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Not Defensive Rookie Player of the Year?
Nah, Defensive Player of the Year. First rookie to ever do it since Lawrence Taylor.
That's
and again,
bold.
future Shane, we nailed it.
Future Shane. He's talking to himself in the future. Yeah, wow. That is bold. But definitely doable. Why not?
I'm glad Shane was bold there. I was going to push back and say predicting Abdul Carter Defensive Rookie of the Year. That's not bold because I think he's now the favourite to win it. So yeah, that's not bold. So that was very bold, Shane. So looking at the odds, my prediction is more bold than Shane's, and I like Shane's thinking about defensive line and Defensive Player of the Year. But at the moment on Sky Bet, it's 50-1 for Abdul Carter to be the defensive player. At 66-1, it's Dexter Lawrence, who will be the 2025 Defensive Player of the Year. And he will benefit most. He was on a season last year where he was on course to being in that conversation, and now he has Abdul Carter to kind of tee them all up for him. Abdul Carter can force those quarterbacks straight into Dex's arms, and he can be in double-digit sacks by week 4.
Nice, like that. Craig, we're going to keep you to last. Kev.
I'm going to double up again, lads, and I'm going to go with a dominating double defensive one. And I'm going to go Brian Burns to get 13 or more sacks, beating his career high of 12.5 in 2022 with the Panthers. He's fully fit. He looks a lot healthier. He's been looking good at camp. And Paulson Adebo to get 5 or more interceptions, beating his career high of 4 in 2023 with the Saints, and thus both players making the Pro Bowl.
Interesting.
There we go.
We're getting some exciting ones. We're getting some good ones. My next one then It's kind of along the similar sort of lines in terms of defensive line. I've gone with Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Abdul Carter. All finished the season with over 12.5 sacks each.
I thought you were going to say like both double digits or all three getting 30, but you went full on, didn't you? Fair play.
All over 12.5 sacks. Which obviously equals Brian Burns' season high. Craig, come on then. Story time.
I haven't gone defensive line.
Oh.
In 2024, the Giants' output for interceptions was paltry. It was 5. Trey Hawkins, Andrew Phillips, Dane Belton, Cordell Flott, Darius Musow each got 1. 1. Not only will they triple this output this season and have more than 15 interceptions on the season, which would have been good enough for 10th last year. Just putting it out there, I think the Vikings had 21. So I'm not going overboard, but we will also have 3 pick sixes during the season.
Wow. I'll take that. I like it, though. I like it.
I don't know if I
like
agree
it a
with
lot.
what Kiefer said. I love how Craig sensibly thinks about this and reasons it out, making realistic predictions. And then Shane and Kev shoot for the moon.
I mean,
Are they realistic? Am I realistic?
I mean, was mine, the last one, was mine realistic? 3 players of 12.5
I mean,
sacks?
is any bold prediction realistic? That's what's bold.
That's the whole point of being bold, yeah. All right, then. Last round of predictions. Aaron, you're up first.
Yeah, so I've been working my maths, as everyone knows. The last
Sign of maths.
and the math still keeps adding up. So I did have a look about, if you want to win the NFC East, you do have to go out there and beat the opponent. So I thought, I wonder what it would be if what the odds are for us to win all 6 games in the NFC East. Now, that's a bit bold for my prediction. That comes in at 200 to 1 at the moment. Like that's a bit bold.
I mean, let's face it. Leicester City won the league at 5,000 to 1, mate. So anything's possible.
Anything is possible, especially when people don't do the maths, don't add it up. So I do think that with our hard schedule, it is going to be very difficult to legitimately win the NFC East. But my bold prediction is that the Giants will finish second in the NFC East.
Interesting. Dare I ask who wins the NFC East?
My magic 8 ball says it's unclear at this time.
I like the answer. All right. It's me next. Yeah, okay. Because Craig was saving you to the end because we like a bit of story time. I've gone for this kind of twofold. The defense leads the league in turnovers forced, and the offense leads the league in turnovers given away.
As in the least amount of turnovers given away.
No, as in the most amount of turnovers given away.
Oh my God. Okay, I mean, it's bold.
That awkward moment when you mean this? No, I meant the other one. Oh.
Yeah, the other side. The shit side, yeah.
So what you're saying is we are the team equivalency of Winston's 30-30.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly what he's saying.
Absolutely that. So the defense forces the most turnovers in the league, and the offense gives away the most turnovers in the league.
We are nothing but exciting this year.
There we go. Kev, your last one?
Wow. Yeah, right. I thought this was quite bold until who was it? Connor Orr pulled out his little graphic and little article he did earlier on. And I was like, for fuck's sake, right? Because I've gone for the Giants to start 3-3, winning in Dallas for the first time since September 11th, 2016, when they won 2019 at the AT&T Stadium. Now, I thought that was quite bold, considering the start of the season you had Washington away, Dallas away, KC at home, Chargers at home, and New Orleans away.
Philly week 6, isn't it?
And Philly week 6. But he's only put out an article, hasn't he, where he's got us going 3-3 in the first 6 games. So I don't know how bold it is, but that's what I've gone for. With that schedule, how hard it is, I think we will go 3-3, be 500 after 6 games, getting a big win in Dallas.
Nice. So we'll be able to report back on that one after week 6. Nice. I like that. And then Craig, last but not least, story time again.
But I think Shane was due to go, but Shane clearly is having some technical difficulties. Right,
well,
story
he
time.
He dropped off just what I went to say Shane, and then he got again.
So this is the longest story time of them all as well. So I actually put this in a few days ago, and then I went, "No, you're a fucking idiot. This is stupid. Why are you even thinking this?" And then I curbed it, and I went, "Okay, I'm going to make I'll do something around a blockbuster move at the end of the trade deadline." But the trade one's dead and buried. This one's back in, and we're going for it. In 2024, the Giants had 8 games against teams that had made the playoffs the season before, and they won 1 of them. In 2025, the Giants will face the Commanders twice, the Eagles twice, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Packers, the Lions, and the Vikings. That is 10 games against teams who made the playoffs last year. What if the Giants were above a 500 record in those 10 games against playoff teams and won 6 of the 10?
Wow.
Oh. that's
Sign me up.
I would take it. I will take that. But that's bold. Keith makes a very good point. This needs a diagram.
Just like with string.
Just a Venn diagram somewhere or something. That's so interesting. I like your thinking. I like your positivity.
Don't show how hard the schedule is, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, 6-4 against those teams. Gee, I'll take that all day long. I'll take that all day long. And then last but not least, Shane, your final bold prediction.
Yeah, sorry, my signal dropped off, so I spotted to my phone. What was Kev? Sorry, Kev's the only one I don't hear, sorry.
Mine was that the Giants would go 3-3 in the first 6 games and win in Dallas for the first time since 2016.
Okay, cool. So, my bold prediction. Last year, the Giants had a minus 142 point differential on the season, which was the 4th worst in the NFL. I'm predicting the Giants are a top 3 point differential this year. So that would mean last year
top 3 worst.
The Lions had 222, and then the Bills and the Ravens both had 157 to come second and third, and we had a minus 142. So I'm predicting the Giants have a top 3 point differential on the season.
As in a positive point differential, yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Go on, Shane.
I think that's the boldest of the lot.
Yeah, I think it's a good job that Shane knew as well. He just went, hotspot issues. I'm just going to drop off here and drop the bombshell last.
Wow.
Shane, is that because we don't concede any points at all because we have Abdul Carter? So we literally have 17 goose eggs in a row, and then we only need to score our average sort of 20 points in each game, and we're top 3 then?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you've got Abdul Carter on defense. Then you're going to have him playing opposite Malik Neighbours on offense. So you're going to have 2 elite wide receivers. So we're just not going to concede any points. We're going to score a shit ton
Fuck
of
it.
points.
Let's put him in as a fucking as a kick returner as well, shall we? Why not? He ain't gonna get injured.
I mean, like Mayo mentioned about Carter for like defensive rookie. He's already won that award. Like there's no competition with defensive rookie of the year this year. He's already won it. It's week 1 of preseason. He's won it. Like that award's pointless now. Let's go on to bigger awards, bigger and better.
Who is this new Shane? Mr.
Nice
Optimism.
bold predictions. Be big, be bold, be brave.
So
It's
what
the
you're
only
saying
chance-
is
It's the only chance I get to be optimistic on the season.
True.
the Defensive Rookie of the Year award shall be henceforth known as the Abdul Carter Award.
Oh, that's a fucking good shape, that is.
The Abdul Carter Award.
Yeah, that's a good shit. I like that. Maybe even like the Heisman's got a picture of a player. Maybe turn it into like a picture of Abdul Carter sacking someone as well.
Oh, Shane, you never fail to amaze us.
And remember, future Shane.
I love it.
Future Shane, you were right.
You were right, but don't worry. By week 6, the tank train will be out.
Oh yeah, fucking more than likely.
Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Who is the best O-line in next year's draft, yeah?
Why?
Oh,
Why did you ruin my fucking mood? I've been here like talking Abdul Carter, bigging him up, and I've been optimistic, Kev, about how I'm going to do the top 3-point differentials, and then you're fucking going to do me like that. You ain't been on a podcast with me in fucking 3 months, and you did that to me. Why?
Oh, couldn't resist, mate. Couldn't resist.
Oh,
we'll get those jersey
dear.
swaps ready.
Yeah, let's. I don't know what to say about that. Craig, one last little piece before we go.
Yeah, do you know what? It's actually funny because I put this in as a potential talking point if we had a little bit of time, which we do at the moment. And Kev's obviously already mentioned it because it ballsed up his prediction. But yeah, Connor Orr on SI.com released his. He does this thing where he basically predicts every single game across the entire season, so you can then see wins and losses. And he has the Giants going 6-11, and what he said is that he has a running bet with friends that the Giants would exceed the Vegas suggested 5.5 win total, though I didn't realise how stressful finding those wins would be. For example, when I tried to look for solid pockets of wins, I ended up having the Giants defeat the Chiefs, figuring Rashee Rice might not be with the team. Spoiler alert, he will be with the team. And Abdul Carter could make work of a rookie left tackle still early in the season. This is partially a best-case scenario overview of a tough schedule, partially a show of faith that the Giants will end the season with one major positive, a post-bye victory over the Commanders after the official switch is made from Russell Wilson to Jackson Dart. So he's also predicting a Week 15 switch there to Dart. Just looking at it, he has us going... there's 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5 and 5 over the first 10 weeks of the season, and then losing 6 and 1 across the final 7. I just wondered what you guys thought about. A lot of us were saying Washington, Dallas, Kansas. Then you got the Chargers, you got the Saints, which is a nailed-on win. I'm going to pay for that one later. Philly, Denver, Philly again, San Fran. That first 9 week stretch there, other than pretty much the Saints, is all against teams who potentially can and may well turn us over. Just wondering what your thought process is when somebody comes in from the outside and says, oh, actually, we've got you down at 5 and 5 on the projections. Kev, your bold prediction was kind of taken out by this. If you look further down the line to your 3 and 3 to 5 and 5, do you think this is realistic? Or
I think we will do better than what Connor was saying here. Because I just think, especially he has us losing a lot of games at the end of the season, but I think there could be teams out of things by then. And if Dart comes in, you don't know what a sort of a rookie QB who sat and learned for a bit. could get out of a team. I don't know. Maybe it's me drinking the Kool-Aid. I just think if our O-line can hold up, especially in pass protection, it needs to get better in the O-line, run game. I just think we will be an all-round better team. But obviously, these people come, these talking heads, they come and do these predictions, and they can only go off last season, really. Do you know what I mean? You're only as good as the last game you played, or the last sort of what you put on the field type thing. And the product we put in the field last year obviously wasn't very good. But we've seen in the NFL how quickly teams can turn things around. And if people buy in and you added the right pieces and your weak links aren't as weak, or they're not as weak as people perceive them to be, then you can string together some wins. And I think getting 5 wins that early, like going 5-5, I think would just breed a huge amount of confidence. And it would be very hard to see us drop off a cliff the way that Connor Orr's got us dropping off here. So I'm quite hopeful that we could, get X amount of wins that we will talk about next week. But it's just interesting to see him give us a really good start, which we don't normally do. I think someone put in the comments earlier about notoriously bad starting the season. So to give us such a good start and then to just fall off so badly, I think the bye's really late as well, which doesn't help. But I don't know. I think we've got a few more wins in us than that.
I just have some real inconsistency in some of the predictions here. Like, we're going to beat Dallas on the road in week 2, but lose to them at home in week 18. Like that's for me a weird. Like, how do you get to us beating Dallas and then losing on the road to them last week when in theory our new QB's bedded in and all that kind of stuff. The take the loss again the week before at Las Vegas, but you're going to predict us going on the road and getting something at Denver. Like, there's just some really weird, almost like you just went that those 6 will do, and I can make a justification around those, but not really knowing anything. I would say
win at Denver, but win at Denver, but lose in New England and lose in Vegas. Yeah.
Shane, does 6-11 mean that Thomas the Tank Train is in the station? It's just in the engine room, just in his shed.
It's on arrival into the end destination. Unless, of course, I'm going to take hold on and then devour that motherfucker.
It's like the the diagram where it's like you've got the ability to keep the train on the tracks. It will kill 6 people. You can change it and it will kill just 1 person, but you're the person who's changed it. Shane's just got like a 4-win season and then an offensive lineman down the bottom.
Change it.
I have accepted we're going to draft O-line this year. I know it's a year away. I've accepted it. If I accept it in August, I've got enough time not to be disappointed.
Come April. Yeah.
That draft live stream is going to be absolute scenes.
Working.
Yes. It's all right. It's all right, Shane. We won't be drafting. We won't draft offensive line in the first round because we got Andrew Thomas on the left and Marcus Bowe on the right. You'll be fine.
Will Thomas the Tank have sunglasses though?
It's a good question, Kieran.
It's probably a good chance.
There's a good comment here from Kevin as well, who's saying, my legit worry as a Commanders fan is Jamar Chase held out all camp until opening week, laid an egg against the Patriots opening day with the offense or that sorts. That is a very big, thing that could happen week 1.
And if I was Abdul Carter, I'd be thinking, my first sack, Jaden Daniels. Like, how many minutes into this game do I want to wait? And Jaden Daniels probably having nightmares up until that first game.
Mate, first snap, he's going to be in his face, isn't he?
No, first play sack. First play sack, telling you now. Future Shane,
bonus,
you're right.
Bonus prediction.
Yep. Brian Dable shaves Abdul Carter's head on the sideline about 5 minutes into the first game of the season.
Love it.
That
I
man ain't gonna have to wait long for an haircut, you know.
No.
No,
That's what
it'll be
he
Saturday
says.
night.
That's what he
This
said.
Saturday night.
It's coming soon. It's coming soon.
Is he counting pre-season?
So, as the Jags kicker learned, stats don't count in the preseason. So he's got to wait till week 1 for the first possible opportunity for a haircut, regardless of what happens this week. So stats don't count. You know, kicks aren't any harder, aren't any easier against weaker opposition. So field goals should count. I understand why, you know, sacking a third string QB against a fourth string O lineman maybe doesn't count, but the field goal should count.
That's low.
I mean,
Andrew Thomas
Kevin,
will start 17 games. Wow.
I mean, it's that elephant in the room, isn't it? None of us want to talk about it, but he still hasn't seen the action. I know he's good. He's a good player. He's put some good tape out there, but surely he needs some snaps and some training and some practice to sort of get himself into, you know, football shape, like to get out there and actually perform. And just the lack of
to get prepared to get injured.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Do you know what I mean? It feels like it's just not if, but when with him every year, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's his big downside, isn't it? His ability to stay healthy. Just on that Connor Orr thing, I think we've got more than 6 wins in us this year. I really do. I can't to lose 6 out of the last 7 is a bit meh. Like we're not good. Losing at New England. Like, come on. What I think is I think as long as we don't go on like a run of 3 or 4 games where we get like absolute pastons each week. I think if we keep the games close and, you know, even if we lose 1 or 2 games in a sort of like, you know, we've got teams like Detroit in week 12, which is always going to be tough in Detroit as well. I think like as long as we can keep games close, I think that's going to be enough of a positive to take out of each week, and we can keep that sort of like momentum sort of going throughout the season.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, going from that New England game, the Green Bay don't particularly scare me to either. Like, I mean, Detroit are a machine at the moment, but New England on the road doesn't scare me. I mean, Washington will put up a good fight. You know, we came so close to beating them twice last year and just was on the wrong side of single score games.
Yep.
And Minnesota, I mean, like JJ McCarthy, like he hasn't done it in the NFL. And from all those talk and preseason practices, is that he hasn't been particularly good either. Like, so until he shows me something on the field to be scared of, you know, the Minnesota don't scare me, to be honest. And like Las Vegas, the Raiders. Geno Smith, is he, you know, an absolute world beater? I mean, we went and beat his Seahawks last year in their place. And Dallas at week 18, I mean, like, that's all up for grabs in the last game of the season. That's the last home game. You could be fighting to make a playoff berth with how many teams qualify for the playoffs these days. So, I mean, that end of the end of the schedule doesn't scare me as much as it seems to scare Connor Orr, who is a friend of the pod, by the way.
No, exactly that. So 6 and 11 is a little bit harsh, I think, but I'll be happy to around 500. But there we go. But we'll go into more predictions next week. Cool. All right, that is all we've got time for this evening. We'll be back Tuesday next week. See you next Tuesday. See what I did there? The usual time to look back at our second preseason game, the New York Derby, the MetLife Bowl, whatever you want to call it. As we play our Lodgers, the New York Jets, at midnight on Saturday night / Sunday morning. So plus we bring back the bingo card for some season predictions as well. So make sure you tune in next week. We got anything to add before we go, guys?
Bingo card next week. Can I have Abdul Carter for every category?
We'll give it you now.
Or can you only use one player per square?
Shane, what's the season prediction for next year, Abdul Carter?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, we're on the Abdul Carter train now.
Who scores the first touchdown? Carter. And it's going to be like a strip sack, fumble recovery, taken back to the house.
Exactly.
That's a bold prediction.
Just that Abdul Carter for every category. So there we go. We don't even need to that next week now, do we?
Job done. There we go. See you later.
That was
bingo
easy.
card won't be back next week. Anything to add, Shane?
Yes, Joe. Me and Joe, like that, in sync. Just remember, future Shane, you were right.
You were right. You were right. Nice. Kev, anything to add?
No, just like it's really good to get all five of us on for these. Like, you know, I've missed coming on. Like I said all the time when I get a couple of weeks away, but it feels like I've been like away for a long time now. And you know, summer holidays, little one, taking her away and stuff like that. So obviously, you know, real life gets in the way. But just want to say, like, we are very close to it now, and you know, we love the Giants. They haven't been good recently, but one thing that's sort of made it bearable and actually a little bit enjoyable is doing this with you boys. It means a lot to me, and like, you know, I look forward to it every time we get on. We always have good crack, regardless win, lose, or draw. A lot of losing recently, but I am really excited for this season coming up, and I'm even more excited to go through this journey with you boys. So I just want to say a big thank you to you lads.
Just going to jump in on a very quick tangent. Apologies. Kev, because you done me over the old line, just to get you back. Who's that jersey down there in the bottom corner?
Oh, the J Love abuse that's now coming in from Shane.
Too soon.
Too soon, 2
Wow.
years, isn't it? Oh, bloody hell, I'm getting involved now. No, really enjoyed tonight. Always love the bold predictions.
Oh,
It's one of the best episodes we do every year, especially in the lead up. You know, you can feel like a little bit of a slog as we go through, but when you kind of get to this bit, this is where the fun starts, because we start looking at predictions, and obviously that rolls into next week. So, and with the 53-man roster predictions last week, so yeah, it's always good fun.
Yeah, so no, great fun. Just a health warning for our listeners. You know, maybe don't tail some of our predictions and gamble responsibly, because we cannot guarantee any outcomes that have been mentioned on this podcast. We have all taken a big dose of Abdul Carter, Cam Scatterboo, Jackson Dart, no Daniel Jones medicine, and we may have been a little bit too bold to put your money where our mouth is.
Also, don't take health advice from us and mix medications.
No. I mean, if you get some decent odds on some of those predictions, drop us a DM and let us know. Because why not? No, yeah, great fun. Good to be back on, obviously, after my few weeks away. And yeah, bold predictions is always fun. Predictions is always fun because it means we're this close to the season. 3 weeks away now? There or thereabouts. Yeah, something like that. 3 weeks away. So we are within touch and distance of regular season football being back on our screens. And as always, it's been a pleasure this evening. I've really enjoyed it. And it's good to have all five of us on for the first time, what seems like an absolute age. So I'm looking forward to Tuesday next week as well. For those watching and listening, check out our socials for the latest news. Follow the links in the description to find where we're at, and give this episode a big thumbs up as well. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell to get notified on when we're going live. To everyone watching and listening as well, thanks for your comments and getting involved. As usual, we appreciate all the love. And my thanks as ever goes to Shane, Kev, Aaron and Craig for joining me. We are signing off. Until next time, let's go Giants.